Download the BCSN Plus app today. Local sports all the time. Visit bcsnnation.com for details. Discounts may apply.
Well, the Hens are back at home this past week, and so has Matt Melzak. Matt, thank you so much. Congratulations on the birth of the second child.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. Yeah, girl dad, 2 girls at home to go along with my wife, Kate. So, yes, we've got it's a busy household right now, but nothing like having a 3-week-old at home right in the middle of baseball season.
Let's talk about what the Hens did, because 2 weeks ago they went to Indianapolis. They dropped 5 of 6, including losing 3 one-run games. They come home and they win 5 of 6, including 3 one-run games.
I'll tell you what, turnabout is certainly fair play, and that is exactly what happened with the Mud Hens, as you called it. They, tough week where they felt like, boy, we should have won a couple more games. Now you turn around, you go into this week, and, well, maybe they probably could have lost a couple more of those games. So, you know what? It ends up being a kind of a wash so far, and the Mud Hens still in good shape in the second half. I mean, they're going to need to put on a little bit of a run there. When you're trying to flag down Syracuse and Scranton and the starts that they've had in the second half of the year. But at least they're in the conversation, and they're one of those teams that if they can get on a run, maybe a good week in Louisville, and then, those teams trip up a little bit. At some point, you got to figure Syracuse and Scranton will probably play each other. That could knock one of them down, and then, you know what? You just have to put together some wins, and that's what Toledo needs to do.
I would say outside of Saturday, probably the best week of baseball the Hens had. You had great pitching, you had timely hitting, you had good defense, you had everything you want out of a solid ball club this past week.
Yeah, you really could. You could go there. I think you're certainly right about that. You would look maybe back at that stretch where they went 28-8, and they had those couple of sweeps in there where they did the 6-game win streaks for an entire week at home or on the road like they did this season, where you might say, okay, maybe that was a little bit better. But what they did this week, outside of the Saturday, was they were in every ball game. They came up with the timely hitting that they needed. Even in the last game when they needed Ryan Kreidler to add on the runs, they did. And it's just one of those things where they found the right timing to do everything. And they forced St. Paul into some holes coming from behind because they would get the lead, or B, they would really hold them off the score sheet. And outside of the Saturday game, St. Paul didn't really put much together offensively, so that was a good thing for a strong week.
And then on Sunday, we had the Mud Hens debut of new pitcher Randy Dobnik, and he's a bit of a character. We like to see characters on the baseball teams.
You like to see that. He's got the wonderful mustache, the handlebars going on there, and you know what? What I liked about what he did was he struggled there in the first inning, gave up a run, kind of got in trouble in the second, but got through it. And then all of a sudden you look, the third inning, the fourth inning, next thing you know, he's racked up 7 strikeouts, his season high for him. He started to use a pitch in that changeup that he hadn't used as much when he was with St. Paul. They might have been the tweak for the Tigers getting him. And Doug Bachler says maybe that's a pitch you should try to get a little bit more out. Who knows? But he started to use it a little bit more, got some swings and misses on it, and his look was much different in the third and fourth inning. Let's see how he does that next time out for the Mud Hens. You'll figure he'll get a start coming up on the weekend, and then that could really tell whether they have something that they can work with the rest of the year.
Before I let you go, we got to talk about some fond memories this past week, as we remember both Jim Weber and then Mike Hessman, the celebration for his 10th anniversary.
And they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting that it ended up working out that way, that, Jim Weber's last game was on August 1st last year, where he called the game against Indianapolis on the road, then passed away after that. And then, of course, Mike Hessman, the iconic home run 10 years ago on the 3rd on that Sunday game, so this past week. So, yeah, it is kind of the hand-in-hand, the great call from him of the home run for Mike Hessman, and then, of course, remembering the legend, Jim Weber. And, I struggled to say a little bit about it over the weekend again, because I just started thinking about and listening to those calls again about how much time I spent with him, and certainly miss him still to this day, and would love to still be calling games with him, because he was so much fun to work with and just enjoy the game of baseball so much that it's hard to believe it's been a year since he passed. It really is.
He would get a kick out of this past 2 weeks, because this is clearly the definition of that's baseball, dude.
Yeah, that is baseball, dude. No question about it. You go 500 in the weirdest way. Lose 5, win 5. Here you go, 500 baseball. Jim, we miss you. Love you.